Rockin' Boxing Commentary. This is Michael, and I'm back with some more boxing. This video is called Deontay Wilder and George Foreman, the myth of the invincible puncher. Now, both Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder fights have captured the imagination of the boxing world and been great for boxing. I watched both fights live, not in the arena, on pay-per-view, but I've been a fight fan for a long time, and I loved both of these fights. Now, you are all probably well aware of the sensationalistic headlines caused by Deontay Wilder's, in my opinion, ludicrous claims about cheating. So, whether you feel Tyson Fury cheated or not, or whether, because there's a lot of people who feel Tyson Fury cheated, most of them rabid Wilder fans, and probably a good percentage of them of a certain ethnicity. But hey, I understand. There have not been very many Caucasian heavyweight champions, which everybody knows heavyweight champion is really the champion of all champions. So it's hard to accept. I understand that. But in the bigger picture, coinciding with the title of this video here, there's a larger pattern that can be seen traced back to 1974 and George Foreman. George Foreman, I believe, was 37-0 with 34 knockouts going into his fight with Muhammad Ali. He was one of the most devastating and powerful heavyweight champions of all time, perhaps the most devastating and powerful heavyweight champion of all time. The epitome of a puncher. Muhammad Ali at this time had not yet become the greatest, in my opinion, which I do believe Muhammad Ali is the greatest boxer for heavyweights of all time. But it was the rumble in the jungle that cemented that legacy for Ali. Consider going into the fight, Ali was considered past his prime and washed up, 32 years old. He had fought Joe Frazier and lost legitimately. In that fight, Frazier floored Ali with a devastating left hook. And it was only on Ali's heart and amazing skill that he survived to lose the decision. In another fight, coming back from that, Ali fought contender Ken Norton. In that fight, Ali lost the decision and had his jaw broken by Ken Norton. Now, George Foreman, when he got a shot at the title against the undefeated Joe Frazier, he absolutely did a demolition job on Joe and ended the fight in under 6 minutes, knocking Frazier down 6 times. Then, subsequently, Foreman defended the title against Kenny Norton, the same Kenny Norton who had broke Ali's jaw and defeated him. In this fight, George Foreman destroyed Ken Norton again in under 6 minutes. So consider, 2 fighters who went 27 rounds with Ali and defeated him, one of them flooring him spectacularly and one of them breaking his jaw, went into a fight with George Foreman, and neither of them could last 12 minutes combined together. And I think were knocked down maybe 9 or 10 times by George combined. Well, obviously, as Richard Dwyer says, boxing is rock, paper, scissors. Just because you beat this guy and that guy beats another guy does not mean the other guy can't beat you. But of course, going into the fight, there were many people who actually feared for Ali's life when he was challenging George Foreman. Ali being older and having lost some of his reflexes, and Foreman being an absolutely devastating knockout puncher. What they failed to realize is a dynamic that is similar to the dynamic which allowed Fury to beat Deontay Wilder. And this is something I noticed, that Ali is a much better boxer than Joe Frazier or Ken Norton as far as defense and quick hand speed, and he is exceptionally talented. So when you have a heavyweight champion who is dominant and knocking everybody out, and they're used to having their way with you, when you get them in with a boxer who has a real good chin and or recuperative ability, and that fighter has a longer reach than them and the ability to out-hit them. By out-hit, I don't mean hit harder, but I mean hit more often. It's really a challenge for the devastating puncher to get through a fight like that. In the Ali fight with Foreman, he came right out at the opening bell and hit George with a combo. And his superior hand speed was evident throughout the fight. Same situation with Wilder Fury 2 or Fury Wilder 2. When a dominant heavyweight champion keeps losing all the punching exchanges over and over, it can be pretty demoralizing. And that's what happened in both of these fights. Actually, you can say Deontay Wilder showed more heart in the rematch with Fury than George Foreman did in his fight with Ali. Because a lot of people thought that George Foreman could have got up and continued fighting, but he was psychologically beaten. On the other hand, Deontay Wilder had his corner throw in the towel. He didn't have his corner throw in the towel. His corner did throw in the towel. That's a subject for another video. Lots of controversy with that. So Wilder, in essence, did go out on his shield. He did not quit. But I believe for his health and future, that was the right decision to stop the fight by Mark Breland. He was caring about his fighter. But it was a similar situation because in the second fight, Fury went out and became the aggressor, and he was just out hitting Wilder. And that took its toll on Wilder, and he was able to hit him with a good shot. Now, amazingly, after Wilder lost, George Foreman approached Wilder about helping him. And I don't know how much Deontay Wilder studied boxing history or George Foreman or Muhammad Ali, but I've read George Foreman's autobiography, and wouldn't you know it, after George Foreman lost to Ali, what did he say? But his trainer spiked his water. And George said in his autobiography, I'm not quoting exactly, but he pretty much related that he could not accept a loss after being so used to being the baddest man on the planet. So he came up with that excuse. Now, you could, although Wilder was stopped on his feet and arguably showed more heart than George in his stoppage loss, he certainly outdid George with regard to the excuses. First, there was, the costume was too heavy, and then a video came out where Wilder trains with the similar weight costume, so that excuse was discredited right there. And then came the Tyson Fury loading his gloves. The referee was a crab in a bucket, and his trainer spiked his water. I did notice, going back over some Deontay Wilder fights recently, that Kenny Bayless was the referee, I think, in the second Luis Ortiz fight. It could be the first, correct me if I'm wrong. But Kenny Bayless was the referee in at least one of the Ortiz fights. I believe it was the second. And Wilder certainly did not call him a crab in a bucket for his refereeing in that fight. So when a dominant heavyweight champion power puncher meets a master boxer, oftentimes it goes in the favor of the master boxer. I hope this made sense to you. I'm kind of drawing a blank as to any further commentary to make my point here. But I hope this was entertaining to you, and I hope you leave your comments in the comment section and subscribe to Rockin' Boxing Commentary. See you next time.